Source Hunter. Ha. By the health of the Seven, you're here. There may yet be hope. Perhaps you remember me as a healer. But gods, what a herald of death I've become. I'm beyond redemption now. But you alone may save Cecile, may save all of Rivellon from the horror I've summoned. King Bracus Rex from the tales of old. He lives. The mad Source King, the Lord of Chaos. I have awakened him. I've done a terrible thing. I've raised a mad king from beyond the grave. I imagined so very foolishly that I'd be able to extract an ancient secret from him. But with a simple flash of his arcane magic, I was finished. I'll tell you all I know, Source Hunter. Resurrected, revived. The king lives, but not as the man he once was. He retains the mark of death upon him, like a festering wound. The last of the mad Source Kings he was. The tyrant who nearly condemned Rivellon to oblivion. He began the War of Wars, marching brother against friend, until every land and home burned with death. It was during this dark time that your order, the Source Hunters, was formed. Bracus was defeated, and Source outlawed from the land. Bracus was a dangerous monster, but he achieved things no man or mortal could have dreamt of. He alone is said to have known a great secret, how to break the Forge of Souls. I promised to extract this secret for a woman calling herself the Conduit. In exchange, she vowed to reveal to me a certain power of her own. In hindsight, I see that I dealt with the devil, and I've received my damnation. I was given a great stone, a bloodstone, but more charged with life than any I'd seen before. The Conduit said it would imbue Bracus with life enough to share the secret she craved. But what he has become, his powers have all returned, and I cannot stop him. My failures are so many. I can hide them no longer. In my pursuit of the Source King, I've called forth abominations that neither I nor any other can destroy. The ghoul that guards the lighthouse, the Baron of Bones, the twins by fire joined. Their ghastly faces haunt me, and they in turn have rifled through the graves and sarcophagi of Cecile in search of undead minions. Undead, Source Hunter, unkillable. I fear this plague may never end, no matter how many times the rotten dead are defeated. Curse her name, her hell-sent promises. She claims to be a link between her goddess and the world of men. I never believed her divine claims, but I could not deny her great power. It was she who showed me that Bloodstone could be used for more than healing. Her stones, particularly powerful and potent, could raise the dead. What could turn any soft soul towards wickedness? My weakness was love, and it was love that she promised me. The Conduit had shown me how to raise skeletons and zombies from their graves. But what I craved was something far more rare. A second life. A true second life for my wife, Malia. She was a beautiful soul, snatched from the world of the living far before her time. Now the Conduit's promise seemed simple. A secret for a secret. I'd tell her how to break the Soul Forge, and she'd tell me how to bring Malia back. You can defeat the unholiness I've raised, Source Hunter. You can save the countless innocents that will perish under the Source King's mad fist. I pray... No, I believe you can reverse my failures.
one who comes to watch the spectacle, to see the sovereign of the source ascend again. Or perhaps you are the first in a long new line, the first that will try to stop my dominion again. Oh, by the emerald eyes of the goddess, would you believe that I can still feel it ever so vaguely? The force of the stab that cleft my heart and sent my soul shivering into death. But my followers have done it. They have done it like I knew they would. Blood, the thick red gravy, the source of souls, has been yielded unto star-sent stones and has swept away the eternal shadows. How long has it been, I wonder, my first repose in death? An hour? The time it takes the seas to tear down cliffs. It is of no matter. I live, and I shall claim my throne anew. A fable I may have become as time dragged on, but a fact I am once more, little one. Don't you, don't all of you miserable mortals realize that they who are one with Source have thrown off the burdensome mantle of death forever? I embraced Source. I drank it, made it part of my blood and my being. And so a warlord became a sorcerer, and a sorcerer became a king. The fools of this world dubbed me a tyrant, for the gods convinced them I was such, fearful as they were of my rise in power. Armies amassed, too many. Scores I slew, too few. Death took me, too soon, but not for all time. Not a thing. There was a woman once that went by that name, until I mangled her body into that of a leaf. Oh, my sister dearest, Cassandra, and her man-cat. Mere pets of mine, the both of them, tools to bruise and break as I saw fit. They bled so very beautifully. The reason for my resurrection, O simplest of spirits, is that I was destined to be. Were it not for the vainglorious fools that raised me now, it would have been another, perhaps wiser being that would have done so in time. And time is of no matter, only to be. Eternally, a woman seeks my secret. For her soul is entwined with another's, yes. Where once they were inseparable, now they have grown apart in purpose and intent. But my secrets are mine to keep. Perhaps when she lies shivering before me, pledging alliance to her king, I will break her forge before I break her. A source hunter. So you are, though you are so much more, and do not even know it. No matter, they still smelled like you do, by the by, your brother and sister hunters, as they closed in around me that first time. Fear. That most sly, most intangible of sense. Drowned out soon afterward by the acid stench of urine. I had but to look at them, and they rusted their chainmail where they stood. I undid so manifold they had to wade through the gore of the fallen. Oh, what a feast, what fountains of gravy we had. Alas, that there were too many, as there clearly are too many of you still. Although, life renewed has made me rather peckish, and from the looks of you, you need but the slightest of squeezes to make squirt the source's sauce from your soul. do believe, as my servants would say as they brought in a squirming, plump girl on a plate, that dinner is served.
So Thelyron believed that by unleashing these monsters, he'd learn the secret to resurrecting his beloved wife.
Only a true devil would cause such destruction for a bit of fancy necromancy.
He'd feed Cyciel to the Hellhounds in the name of ripping his beloved soul from the afterlife and trapping it in her mortal corpse. Disgusting.
One who comes to watch the spectacle, to see the sovereign of the source ascend again. Or perhaps you are the first in a long new line, the first that will try to stop my dominion again. one who comes to watch the but how long a fate I am on is oh my stories, a woman, no man, alas, yes, look at you, plump as a leech, bulging with freshly sucked blood. Oh, I do believe, as my servants would say as they brought in a squirming, plump girl on a plate, the dinner is served.
You're doing. Cheerio! Good to see you on the shelter plane. Like the imp said to the ballista operator, shoot! Are you now? The White Witch of Luculla Forest, is it? Lovely woman, Ikara. Can't imagine her getting caught up in affairs of the Source, though, let alone murder. But if she has, I fear she may be in grave danger indeed. Do look for her in the Luculla woods, won't you? It would be such a shame if something untoward were to happen to her.
How might I serve our mission?
How can I help you, my friend? What? I'd never. If you must know, I was merely checking up on Maxine, the mayor's cat. What a delight. There is magic to this place, isn't there? No matter how forlorn it seems.
There is magic, but it is not so much forlorn as it is dormant. I trust the Source Hunters and their star stones will stir it from its slumber.
I'm confident they will. They must. The alternative is unthinkable.
Salutations, Source Hunter. I shall be very glad to share what information by all means. Churches have churchyards, and churchyards attract my legion. What? You found they must come from somewhere. So the chances, Lieutenant, and that is exactly what your presence in Sicil is, Source Hunter. A gift and a blessing. Only...
Poor man. It seems he was eaten by a beast.
Well, partially, to be more precise.
Stop for death, or it will stop for you. Oblige death now, for it obliges you. Tell me, traveler, do you wish to die? And how will you die, then? Do you wish for a long courtship with the Reaper, or for a quick and wild affair? Death creeps, tests, nuzzles, withdraws, pursues, torments, and takes you. And how will you die? Death flies. Death sends its finest carriage for you, yet you deign.
In the name of the goddess, halt! Who goes there? A wanderer, you say? A lost sheep, perhaps, that has found its flock. The stable of Immaculates. Why, it's Silverglen, of course. Once the abode of miners, now the abode of the faithful. We have traded the search for silver for the pursuit of divinity. I'm sure this sounds strange in what are strangers' ears, but you must know that but a short while ago, a frightful sickness felled us by the dozen, until she who speaks for the goddess brought us a cure. She showed us how we may overcome the frailty and even the decrepitude of our mortal bodies. This is why we now live a life of devoutness and civility, so that we may become immaculate. But I suggest you talk to Father Loik if you want to learn more about the ways of the goddess. Be welcome, therefore, to Silverglen. Blessed be all Immaculates.
The Immaculates here seem to be a friendly enough bunch.
See being the operative word, let's remain vigilant.
I wouldn't trust these sentries to guard a pig pen.
The degenerates here claim they have been cleansed, but I can still...
Remember when that redhead used to come by and cheer him up?
I can tell you if you wish, but you'd have to listen to the tale of my life. Because my future, such as it is rooted deeply into my history. So I shall. Once upon a time, I was a king in a land of beauty to the east. A land of tigers and slender towers, of deserts and forests, of sun and all the world's wealth. I was a young king, handsome and all-powerful. Every nobleman would have killed his own brother if I promised to take his daughter's hand in marriage. But I refused their incessant implorations. I knew my life as a sovereign would be self-indulgent, but also a self-delusory one, if I weren't to marry for love. And so a handful of years went by. The king's throne I myself occupied, whereas the queen's throne remained empty but for the court's cats that would nap the afternoons away upon its velvet cushions. But then one day, a young woman visited my kingdom. She was a poetess and a storyteller. People flocked to her, listened to her every word as if receiving mantras from the divines. I invited her to my palace, and soon our days, our nights, our love and our lives intertwined. Hiraka. How I miss her still. Miss the brilliance of her mind that was both as sparkling and as unbreakable as the diamonds that adorned her body. Oh, and how I miss her body. 1,000 artists I could have commanded, show me beauty. But she would have effortlessly surpassed their every endeavor, and curving her lips into a smile, make them break their sculptures in tearful impotence. And yet, true happiness, that commodity more precious and even more fleeting than the dominion of kings, sang to us like the nightingale, only to depart come the dawn of our first year's unity. A malady overtook me, and I began to wither. It was an unparalleled horror. Scores of physicians flocked to my bedside. They traveled from realms across the seas, hoping to cure the mighty Jahad, undo the gloom that had befallen the land, and mere vultures that they were, to be paid handsomely for their efforts. But none of their potions took effect. Their salves seared, but did not soothe my fading flesh. Like a ghoul I looked, unburied yet risen from the grave. In futile anger I struck my mirror, but broke my brittle fingers only, not its ever-mocking surface. It went like this, Hunter. If a ghoul I had become, so a dark turn of thought convinced me, a ghoul's methods I should employ to escape the labyrinthian crypt of corporeal corruption. A necromancer I'd be. Yes, only from deep within the deliriums of death would I tunnel my way back into the gardens of life. I did unspeakable things in the dusky dungeons that twist like forgotten veins to long-deceased organs far beneath my castle's sunlit halls. Halls which held my throne and held the bed upon which Hiraka slept, her very touch blessing the satin she reposed upon. Still there came no relief. Perversions I created in scores, but they were mere undead all.
Creatures so piteous that the thought of cheating death in their guise frightened me more than the swing of the scythe itself. Like mosquitoes in the night, panic and despair beset me until I turned to that darkest of all arts, demonology. It had to be. There was no other way. I could feel the life slipping out of me like love out of a betrayed spouse's heart. So I studied tomes so old the dust that fell from their centuries' unperused pages never knew the light of the stars that now shine. I drew forbidden symbols. I spoke unhallowed words, and from the smoke that rose like a dragon's last breath, a demon appeared to me and said, "Ask, O blighted king, and you shall have." "Just tell me," I cried. "Tell me what ails me." Hiraka. Never had I known a single word can cut deeper than the sharpest of daggers. With maddening glee, the demon told me she was one of his kin. A soul-swallowing horror that had been feeding on both my body and my spirit like a leech. An ancient being was she, that moved from king to king throughout the ages, filling their hearts with love, then draining them of life. After such revelations, does one truly desire to live on? Death seemed like a mother then, welcoming me with her all will be well embrace. Yet still I feared exceedingly her seemingly sweet caress, and the oblivion that would follow. Release me from her, demon, and give me back the strength of a sick, free existence. So went my desperate plea. It smiled, of course it did. Smiled bare 100 razors as its eyes came alight with infernal fire. 1,000 years I will give you, it whispered. But then your soul shall be mine to incarcerate in the depths of hellish nemesis. As for your throne, that I'll have now. What say you, O brittle king? Do you accept my terms? I think you know the answer to that question, Hunter. But I've said enough for now. These memories are painful to recollect, so let us turn to the rest of them later. So I shall. I think you know the answer to that. Of course you do.
Cheer him up. Oh, yeah. You know, I bet she's just feeling sorry for that whiny lump of toll-taking fat.
Good. No use in standing about.
Well, well, well. So our very own demon hunter once dabbled in the so-called darkest of arts himself.
A man so utterly betrayed and dying will grasp at any straw. I can hardly blame him.
Neither can I. Clearly his great love was almost the very death of him. She broke his heart in more ways than one, and I too would go to any length to repair it.
Toll to cross a broken bridge? Ridiculous.